the call. My name is Kingdom Eric, project lead, like you heard Amanda already introduced. The exercise is more of practical in nature, so that your pledge applications are not rejected. So I'm going to guide you through. Amanda, I want to share my screen.
I- Yeah, you should be able to share. I just updated so you can share.
Okay. All right. I hope my screen is visible now to everyone.
Yeah, we can see.
All right. So this is the website, and you can find the section about the pledge, to sign into the pledge on the about column. So you scroll down, you have where join our school network, and you click on it. Most of the time, people send emails to ask where can we sign the pledge. So here's the pledge, and you click on signing. Now, signing the pledge form, like Amanda has already explained to you, we do have some guidelines which is also attached to the website. I think the previous page, when we provide some practical guidelines on how to sign the pledge. Now, I'm going to pick out some of in the course of explaining the process, I'm going to pick out some of the red flags, which are very, very important and can get your pledge application rejected. Now, the first one which I'm going to highlight strongly on is the category of persons that are competent to sign the pledge form. Now, these are the categories of persons that are competent to sign the pledge form. And it's one of the major factors that we look at, either to accept your application or to disqualify your application. Because teachers, advocates who do not fall within the leadership structure of the school are not competent to sign the pledge. This also applies to teachers, because most of the time teachers go to the system, they sign the pledge, and they don't get any feedback from us. Your pledge has been rejected, especially after 1 month. If you don't get any feedback from us, then your pledge has been rejected. So if you don't fall within these categories of individuals, then your pledge will be disqualified. Now, this is very, very important, because there are situations where there are times where we've had concerns from a principal, where a teacher goes to the website and sign the pledge form, and the principal comes and say, "No, I don't commit to this." Okay, so it's important that the leadership of the institution is aware of the pledge, and we require the leadership to sign the pledge. And there are other important reasons why we require the leadership to sign the pledge, like to give us a good number of the exact number of students and teachers in the school, which we are going to see as we proceed. Now, the next aspect you need to choose from that category. Now, the next aspect is for you to say, write your name, the person who is filling the pledge. You have your email, and at times we require that for you to really type the email so as to avoid errors, because there are times where pledges are not sent because the person wrote the email or copy paste the email and did not do that well, and you don't receive your pledge. So once that is done, then you can move to the next page. Now, the next page is the name of the head of the institution, which can still be the same person who is filling the pledge form. So the person needs to write the name of the head of the institution. Now, the title, it could be the proprietor, it could be the headmaster, headmistress. So you have to choose your title, the title of the head of the institution, and also include their email again. Now, with regards to coordinators, we need three coordinators for to be written in the pledge. Now, there are schools where they already have like an SDG from forum, and they have a coordinator. This is a section where you need to write that person's name. Now, there are other two coordinators we do require, for reasons that if the first person, the first coordinator is not reachable, we can reach out to the second or the third coordinator. Now, sometimes people will fill the pledge, the person will fill the pledge, write his name as the one who is signing the pledge, come to this section of the coordinator, write his or her name, coordinator 1, 2, and 3. Now, this raises eyebrow for me who is reviewing your application, because the entire idea about our approach is that is the whole school approach, such that we know that our resources or your integration of the SDG in your school is done across the school and not just one teacher who is engaging with the SDG. So if we have say the three coordinators and is the whole school approach, we know that the students at grade 1 are being taught SDG related activities at grade 1. Once they get to grade 2, they will meet the grade 2 teacher who can also continue from where they stop in grade 1. So it's very, very important that we have the three different coordinators, three different people. Okay, you could have designated as the lead, or it could be other teachers, a mathematics teacher or an English language teacher in the respective section, either coordinator 1, coordinator 2, coordinator 3. So we also need to fill in their title. If it's the mathematics teacher, you write it. It's an English language teacher, you write it, as well as their emails. So we move to the next, which is the name of your institution. Now, we do require the official English translation because our major language of communication is English, and your certificate is being issued in English language. So we require an English translation of the name of your school. At the bottom, we have the name of the institution in the local language. Here you can write the institution in the local language. Now, there are maybe in certain countries or certain areas where you don't have a translation. It's okay for you to write the name as it is in the section of the official English language translation. Now, towards the end of the pledge, we do have a section about, say, comment or remarks. There are schools where they will require that the name of their institution is written on the certificate in their local language. So you can make that request, and when reviewing the pledge, I will take note of that and make sure your certificate is issued in your local language. Now, the next section goes to where your institution is located. You can choose, we have the number of countries there in the system, which you can choose from. Now you scroll down. Now we also have the city where your institution is located. You write that clearly. And we also want to stress about you don't need to write everything in caps letters. You can begin with the first letter. The first letter should be in caps, and the other letters can follow in small letters. Now, we also require your official address of your institution. This is very, very important as well for when placing your schools on the Global School Network map, which most schools are very, very much interested in. Now, if you give us the wrong address or you don't write it correctly, and the Google Map system doesn't recognize it, then your school will not appear on the map, because we use a generator system where the Google Map system need to recognize how your school is reading. I take, for example, say New York. No, New York is a capital letter, a capital N and a capital Y. Someone will write the N in small letters and the Y in small letter. The Google Map system does not recognize that. So your school will definitely not appear on the map. So it's very, very important that you follow that the guidelines. And another very important aspect is the official website of your institution. It's one of the major things that we look in order to either accept or disqualify your pledge, because we don't want ghost institution within our network. It will affect our impact report at the end of the year. So we don't want to represent something that does not exist. So we do require that you write the official address, the website of your institution. Now, I'm very, very much aware of the fact that, take for example, I come from Cameroon. There are many schools there that don't have the website. So in the course of my due diligence check, if I don't see any trace of your school, then the pledge will be rejected. Now, if your school does not have the official website, what guides my decision is I go to who. There's a section at the end of the pledge form that talks about where did you hear about the Global Schools program. This one is very, very important, because if I see that you were referred to the global schools by an advocate, then I know that the school exists. So you have talked to someone who is part of our network. So it gives me a lot of information that, okay, this school is existing. All right. If you don't have an official website. All right. We move to the next, which is the type of institutions which we have listed there. Now, it's important to emphasize that the Global Schools program, our scope is limited to the K-12 education framework. So if you don't fall within that, within K-12 education, then your pledge will be rejected. We do have situations where institution of higher learning, they sign the pledge and it's rejected because our mandate is limited to K-12 education. So for institutions like that, we do have the SDG Academy that have courses that are offered to students at the higher education network. So it's very, very important to take note of that. And I have had a situation back some time, a while back, where an advocate actually is in an institution where they have tertiary education, and I had a difficulty granting or accepting that application because it has on its name a university. So we had to move back and forth to make sure that they play or they give me a name that I can write on the certificate that does not contain university. Because most of the time, the schools that have signed the pledge, you do post your certificate maybe on your website or on your school environment, and maybe an institution of higher education comes across and says that, oh, we are also eligible to sign a global school pledge. No, you are not eligible because you don't fall within the K-12 education framework. All right, so the next one has to do with the type of education your institution provides, which we leave this for the different schools to choose. I think there's not a major issue with this one. And then, does your institution belong to a network? Um, in network here, we mean there are countries like, for example, so Turkey, where we have a network that contains about 50 or 100 schools. So this question really pertains to that aspect, because at times people do confuse, like, what do we mean by network here? So I hope this addressed that concern. Now, another very, very important aspect of the pledge form that can get your application rejected is at the level of the number of students and the number of teachers. Now, I'll give you an example where we have received applications where the person signing the pledge writes 100 for the number of students, and then goes at the level of the number of teachers and say write a number, say 150, a number which is higher than the number of students. Now, from where I sit, it's unlikely that we have a school that have as many teachers more than the number of students. Is highly unlikely. Economics would say resources are scarce, and teachers are part of that critical resources that are scarce across the globe. So it is very, very unlikely that I will see a school that has more teachers than the number of students. So this raises a red flag, and what pops to my mind is who signed the pledge. Because if it is the school leadership that signed the pledge, they will provide us with authentic, credible, uh, official number of students and teachers. So I will have to go back to check who signed the pledge. If the person falls within that competent authority. If yes, then I will reach out to the person. Personally, I write an email like, please, could you confirm the number of students and the number of teachers in your school? At times, it might be an error. And in the course of reaching out to them, they give me the official or the correct information, and I update the pledge form. So it's very, very important that the number of teachers and students actually reflect what obtains in the school. At the end of the year, we have our impact report, and we don't want to inflate our impact report based on data that are not correct. So we really need this number of students to be credible, authentic, and official. The next one has to go with the institution. If your institution is a member of any national or global education program that is reserved for you, it could be the International Baccalaureate Board and others. So we leave that for the individual institution to respond to that. And then the next one is, does your institution engage with the Sustainable Development Education at the level? We leave that for the school to decide, because you know at what level which you are engaging with the SDG. The next aspect has to do with, do you belong to a member of any association or coalition? You can say that to us, either a yes or a no. And the next question has to do with, does your institution hope to engage with the SDG going forward? So this one too is reserved for the school to choose what they really want. So this information actually gives us an idea of like where you are, and probably what we can develop in terms of case study guides or lesson plans that are accessible and will be able to meet your needs of the respective school. The other one too, the next question too is reserved for the person filling the pledge. It's entirely you for you to tell us what level you are, what you need. So we move now to the next one. Same explanation like the one I just did. So you need to confirm if your institution engages with the SDG, and you choose from the list of items which we have. Now, once that is done, you can click next. Now, this is the section about the comment where you can either make any comment that you deem necessary. We take a look at it, and it also helps us to get an idea about the person signing the pledge or the school or what they hope to achieve. You can as well leave it blank if you don't have any information to provide at the level. Now, the next one goes to how did you hear about our program, which I've explained earlier. It's very, very important. If you are being referred to us by an advocate, it's good to write it there. Maybe you heard about the Global Schools program, maybe in an international conference or a side event. It's also important that you write it there. Yeah. So the next one, if you do by selecting yes, I agree to the collection and use of information outlined in the pledge form, like we have seen. Yes. And then please, you need to consent for us to add it to our newsletters, which we normally send on monthly basis. And once that is done, then you have come to the end of the pledge, and all you need to do is just to click on submit, and we shall receive your pledge application. You have the page shows that your pledge has been submitted. So that is just the practical guidelines on or how to sign the pledge form so as to avoid being rejected. Amanda, I think I'll have to yield back to you, and we can open the floor for the Q&A.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking us through the pledge and showing us where to find the pledge. We also recorded this session, so you'll be able to refer back to this if you weren't taking notes. But that's the process for filling out the application to become an official member institution. And as Eric said, filling it out doesn't automatically guarantee that you will get a membership certificate. We still look through this, as he mentioned, and make sure this is a real institution, and it falls under the categories of schools that we can kind of have as members with the Global Schools Initiative. And we want to open this up as well to some individual questions, because I know that there's probably more questions about joining as a member institution. I started answering some questions in the chat already, but since it's a small group, we can also have people put their questions in the chat or raise their hand, and we can also call on you as well. So I'll wait to see if anyone raises their hand, or I'll go to the chat. Archana, please feel free to go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, good evening. This is Archana from India. I filled the Global School Pledge form while I was doing the training for cohort 7. But the challenge I faced in filling the form is that my school email domain is blocked for receiving emails from outer sources. So mostly what I did was filled the email ID of the coordinators, the personal email ID of the coordinators, because I know that they won't receive messages or emails from any outside institution. So how do I, navigate through this problem?
So but you are receiving messages from the Global Schools team, right?
That is my personal account. So I'm receiving messages in my personal account, but my school domain restricts emails coming from any other outside sources.
And that's the same as like school leadership as well?
Yes, yes. So we have a PR system. The PR receives all the email and they keep, transferring the emails to us. So if that can be allowed, I can definitely share the PR email ID and they can receive it. But yeah, it's a challenge. Like, I'm not sure if they'll be able to forward the emails to us on time.
Yeah, I think for this pledge, I mean, it's not really time sensitive, like you would get it when you get it. So if you do have another institutional email or someone that we could send that to, and then they could forward it to you, I think that would be the best, because we do need a way, of course, to communicate with the schools in our network.
Yeah. So one more challenge over here, as sir was showing the form and he showed us 3 coordinators email ID. So in place of the coordinators, can I share the email ID of the principal and the higher management authority who have access to receiving emails from outside?
Yeah, sure. In this case, it would be very individual. So then, and you can write that in the comments box that we have at the end.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much.
And then we have Sophia.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sophia Musa Ibrahim, and I'm live from Nigeria. Thank you so much for having me. I joined the meeting a little bit behind the time because I just closed from school. I just left my class. That's why I could not join on time. So my question goes like this. One, my school are interested in the pledge, and I wanted my principal to sign up the pledge. And when I went to the link, I clicked, it only downloaded the form, and which I printed out to her, and she went through. But I could not get. My intention was to just get the real online form for her to fill direct through my own phone, since the link is only sent to me. So I couldn't do that. I hope that after today's lecture, I'll be able to know how to go about it. But sorry, I joined a little bit late. Then, secondly, my school email is like is not functioning, because I heard the principal telling me that can she use her own personal email. Even the vice principal too asked whether he can use his personal email to receive to send you to the mail. He asked as well, and I said today I will get all the facts and I will get back to them. That is true. Then thirdly, I have some lineup programs and I needed a colleague, a global school advocate like myself, to be our guest in that program. Unfortunately, I've not seen anyone from Kaduna State. I said, well, let me reach out to you today. Maybe you'll be able to link me up or connect me with anyone that I can collaborate with. Thank you. These are my three issues for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So on the first question, I think it was cutting out a little bit, but I hope I understood you. So if you all, this is for everyone's information. So on this network page, where you can find the pledge, you can also read this other information here. So you can download all of the questions in PDF format, clicking here, and you'll be able to open. I don't think it will show you on my screen right now, but you can see all the questions before you actually click on the link. So if the link is not working when you're sharing this through to other people, you're able to see all the questions here. And we also have a guidance note with basically the information that Eric went over in this call today that tells that you can also share with school leadership or others just as a one-pager. So maybe they don't have time to watch this whole session, it will give them this information as well. So that's where you can find this. On the personal email, we really do prefer that there is an institutional email if possible. And so maybe Eric, I'll turn that over to you for that. And on the last question on connecting with people in your country, please send an email to advocates@globalschoolsprogram.org, and the advocates team will tell you if there are other people in your country. So Eric, over to you for the personal email.
All right, thank you so much, Amanda. I think now for the personal email, like Amanda has said, we do prefer an institutional email. We want to avoid situations where people use their personal email and they get the certificate and they don't show it to the school. They use it for their own private ish things, because in the past I have had a principal reaching out to me like, hey, I noticed that my school have signed a pledge and we don't have the certificate, and I searched through and I see that the certificate was signed to this was sent to this person who signed the pledge. So that was before, because before teachers can sign the pledge. So when we notice issues like that, we had to stop and to reserve the signing of the pledge to the leadership of the institution. So the institutional email is very, very important for us. We prefer that you use the institutional email. Now, where we don't have an institutional email, yeah, the principal can use his personal email, and I'll equally have to ascertain that, okay, this is really the principal using his or her personal email. So the personal email are accepted in place of the institutional email. Now, just to add to what Amanda have said about the PDF. Now, the PDF is just a practical exercise for you to have an idea of the questions that are in the pledge form. In the past, people have signed the pledge, filled the PDF form and sent as their pledge. It's rejected. The PDF is not the official channel for signing the pledge form. Rather, it's just something to guide you, to prepare you in signing the pledge form. So you need to go to the website and the link there to click on it and sign the pledge form. So I'll advise Sophia to share the link with your principal. You don't need to print out the document and fill it and send it to us because it will be rejected. So you have to go to the website and sign the pledge there, and you automatically come to us.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to answer a few more questions in the chat, and I'll see if there's any other hands. I see a question from Elena asking, when a school signs the Global Schools Pledge, does the commitment need to involve all teachers, or can we start with one department like mathematics and expand later? So when you sign the pledge, the most important thing is that, you know, your school leader agrees that you can be a member institution. How your school really integrates the SDGs, if you want to start with one department and then expand later, I mean, that's perfectly up to you and your school leader and how you see that. As Eric said, we do just need multiple focal points, especially because, you know, some teachers will leave the school and things like that. So we at least need to have more people to communicate with besides the school leader. But the main criteria is really your school leader agrees that you are a member institution with the UN SDSN. And we would hope that because your school leader does agree to this, that your school is committed to integrate the SDGs. But we know that doesn't happen overnight. So yeah, you can start with one department. So hopefully that answers your question, Elena. And then we have a question about the due date for the application. So we usually look at the pledges on an ongoing basis. It does take up to a month for us to review this, you know, follow up with you if there's any, you know, questions about your school, and then issue the membership certificate. But also for the end of this year, November 15th is going to be the last date that you can sign up in 2025. Because towards the end of the calendar year, we'll be looking at our data, making sure we respond to all of our schools for the end of the year. So you would need to sign it by November 15th. And if not, you would have to sign it in 2026, in January 2026, because we're going to take a little bit of time to make sure we're following up with everyone. But no worries if it's December and you miss it, that means you'll just apply in January. So hopefully that answers your question. I'm looking for other questions here. There's a question about if you have teachers that work across both middle and high school. That's, you know, perfectly fine. I think this was related to another question that I tried to answer on if you need multiple pledges for multiple levels of education. And this really just depends on the governance of your school. We know schools are very, very different in different countries. Where I'm from, one person is over maybe like 7 schools, and they could sign the pledge maybe for 7 schools. But in your country, if all of those schools are separate and have separate leadership and want a separate membership certificate, they should all apply separately. Because we will give membership certificates for each pledge. So if they all want a separate membership certificate for a separate school, then they would all need to sign the pledge individually. So hopefully that makes sense. And as we know, I mean, we are here as the team. If there are questions, a lot of this does become individual with us following up with you and asking for clarification, because we do understand that every school is different and every context is different. One person said they're not able to download the PDF. I was just able to download it, so maybe using a different browser could possibly work for you. Hopefully that works. I think those are all the questions in the chat right now. Do we have any other questions from the group? Okay. I think those are the main questions from the group. We did record this session. So you do have the ability to refer back to this, and we'll share this with the registrants for this session. And yeah, just to reiterate where to find this one more time. So if you go, as was shown earlier, if you go to About Us, go down and join our schools network, this is one of the ways to get to the pledge itself, and that's where you'll find the map and the pledge here with the information. And just to also reiterate as well, because we do get the most questions, I know Eric, you already said this, but we get the most questions about this map. So you really need to write your address exactly how it is on Google Maps or how it's written in your country, and there can't be any errors, or else our software is not able to find your school on this map. So that is just something to definitely, I wanted to also emphasize, because this is something that comes up in mainly every single conversation with people, or if it's written incorrectly, sometimes your school will show up in a different country when it's not actually there, and we have to go in and manually move the pin. I see one more question from Archana.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, one last question. After the scrutiny of the form and after evaluating the form, how long does it take for the school to be mapped on the global map?
So I will turn that over to Eric. How long after receiving the membership certificate does it take to be on the map? I think we do the map in batches, but Eric, you can answer that.
Yes, thank you so much, Amanda. We do the map in batches. I will give, say, 2 weeks to a month for your school to appear on the map. Now, if within that time frame your school does not appear on the map, then there is an error with the information that was written in the system. Now, I don't correct your information. I expect that the person who is filling the form has a mastery of everything. So I review based on what you have provided for us. And if you've omitted something in the course of, say, the address or maybe the name of the school, then it will appear at my end as error. At times, since this is a software, I might not pick it up. I might send out a bulk of certificates, and there's an error with the information which the person wrote. I can't see it. So if within that, say, 1 month, 2 weeks to 1 month, and there is no feedback on us, and you can find your school on the map, please, you can reach out and you provide us with the following information: your country, the name of your school, your exact school address is very, very important. Just like Amanda said, that you might provide an address and your school is pinned somewhere out, maybe outside the continent where you are located. So we have to manually bring that to the precise location. So we can only have that precise location because of the information which you provide to us. So it's important that you give us the exact address, the district address, the name, and the number. I think that's all, Amanda.
Thank you, Eric.
All right, thank you so much. I see one more comment here from Elizabeth. Yeah, for any official partnerships, you can feel free to email our info account, which is it's globalschools@unsdsn.org. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat for any partnership inquiries. Because partnerships are a completely different process for us. So we can do another session on that at some point in the future. Any other questions before we close? All right, thank you so much, everyone. We'll share this recording. We really appreciate your questions, and hopefully this provided a little more clarity on the process to become an official member institution affiliated with STSN for our early childhood, primary, and secondary institutions. So thank you so much, and we'll hope to see you soon.